Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, I hope that all of you are fine and studying at home. And I hope that you are giving a proper time to your studies and hope that you are going through the Google Classroom as well. I had shared with you people that your lessons will be uploaded in your Google Classroom and material will be uploaded in your Google Classroom because I am not going to give any work over there in the WhatsApp group. This thing was communicated to you. So if you will go and you will check, so you will be able to know that the material that I had shared with you is available over here in your uh, Google Classroom lessons. So you can download them from there and you can see. I'm also trying to attach videos over here. Videos, just like we discussed about the history of computer. So in history of computer, I had attached evolution of computer. One video is attached. Okay. Similarly, we had discussed about the generations of computer. One video is attached over there that I am going to share with you right now as well. The purpose behind is that you should go through it, you should see the different pros and cons discussed in that particular video. Okay, my lessons video that I am recording, these will also be available to you in your Google Classroom. Okay, and you can revise the text and the things whatever we have studied, those all topics from the Google Classroom as well. So I hope that now all these students are well aware about the Google Class code. Okay, I hope that. And if you are not still, so you must know. And you should log in your Google Classrooms to see the material, whatever we are studying nowadays and we are going through. So you have to go through it. Last time, one pre board exam was going on Sunday, so our class was not conducted. You must know about it. Now, today, what we are going to do. Number one thing is that I will give you one assignment as well, because I want you people to be very much familiar with the you know Google Classroom, how to attempt assignment, how to do assignment on Google Classroom. So I would like to give you one Google Class assignment that you will submit over here, and how you are going to submit it I will also share with you the procedure, that how you will write on paper, you will take the images and you will submit it using Google Classroom. So for that procedure I am going to give you one video over here. I will attach one video over here so that you can go through that video and you will be able to learn that how you will submit your assignment through Google Classroom. It will not be a huge assignment, it will be a short assignment. Write answer for some given questions and then submit the image using Google Classroom. Okay, fine. This thing is clear, I hope. I hope these all things are clear. I am unmuting you. Yes. Okay. Okay, sure. So if you have got any question, you can raise the hand and you can ask me right now. If you've got anything that you need to ask. Okay, what we are going to do today. I am not taking any review because our last class was wasted. So I was about to take the review of the digital, analog, and hybrid computer systems. And I had explained you all these computer systems, and I had given you the work over here. From next time, inshallah, I will also mention the title over here, that which topic is there, so that it would be convenient for you to go through that particular topic. Yes, it was uploaded in 15th, on 15th of April. Types of computer systems. Yes, this was the topic that we had done last time. Digital, analog, and hybrid computer systems and their examples. Okay, I will also try to find out some good video about it from the internet so that you can go through that video as well. It will also be attached over here. So what we are going to do today, inshallah, Today's task is basically about types of computers. Keep in mind, types of computers are regarding different things, different factors. Last type of computer was according to mechanism. Okay. Now this is basically lesson 15th. Today it is 20th. So this is 20th April. And the topic that we are going to do today is basically types of computers regarding size or processing capacity. Regarding size and processing capacity, we are going to discuss about. Okay, I will also attach over here today's work as well. Today's work will also be attached over there, and you will be able to see whatever we will do the work. Okay, now come towards the types of the computer systems that we are going to explore today. We have explored generations, we have explored the types of computer according to the mechanism, working mechanism, digital, analog, hybrid. Now, speed, cost, and size, processing capacity, all these things basically matters. So according to the size of the computer system, according to the purpose of the computer system, there are different, advantages of the computer systems, and different categories are there. Supercomputers, mainframe computers, okay, and then there is microcomputer. Supercomputers, mainframe computers, microcomputers, these all are basically the types that we are going to study today. Supercomputers, mainframe, mini, and micro. These are the four types that we are going to discuss. Okay, and we will of course see their advantages and disadvantages, limitations, extra features, whatever are there. We are going to discuss them. Okay, so we must know that. First, we have got microcomputers. We will start from micro, then mini, then mainframe, and then super. Okay, microcomputers are basically those computers systems which are normally available, and these are size of a notebook computer. These are size of a desktop computer. Basically, these are small computer system commonly available, used in homes and offices. These are called microcomputers. So these are the computer systems which we call desktop computers, laptop computers, notebook computers. Okay, if we see the PDA is personal digital assistants, small personal digital assistants nowadays have been eliminated because of the cell phones. Otherwise, we used to have, when I was in schooling, I used to have one PDA. It was not only a calculator, it was also having alarm system, reminder system, task scheduling. All these things were available in that PDA. So nowadays, the cell phone has got different apps. So now we are not using separate PDA devices, but cell phone contains different types of apps for that. Tablet PCs, the tabs that you use, just like Samsung, Huawei tabs that you normally use. Handheld computers and desktop computers and notebook computers and laptop computers. These all are the normal microcomputers that we use, and these computer systems are commonly available in homes and offices. Common computer systems, microcomputer system. So micro, why we are basically calling them microcomputer system? If you will go and you will search the term Google, so you will be able to know that this is basically the microchip which is being used over there. Microcomputer is a complete computer on a small scale, designed for use by one person at a time. Okay, an anti-aquatic term, a microcomputer is now primarily called a personal computer. We normally call it personal computer. And it may be a desktop computer, and it may be a laptop computer, or even tablet or cell phones are also types of microcomputers. Or a device based on a single chip microprocessor. Okay. Common microcomputers include laptops and desktops. So these all are these all devices that normally we are using. These all are under the definition of, you know, the microcomputers. Okay. So I am going to give you this text as well that will be uploaded in your Google Classroom. You don't need to worry about. Now you are well aware about the microcomputer system. Now we need to know about the mini computer systems. What are basically the mini computer system? These are heavier in size but have more capacity. The age of the mini started in 1960s, late 1960s. The creation of integrated circuits suitable for computers enable designers to shrink the size of the computer, because at that time there were huge size computer systems. So mini computers are frequently referred to as mid-range computers. They are also called mid-range, but these are not used normally inside the houses and small offices. These are used in the companies, just like multinational companies, private limited companies, where there are, multiple users, a number of users who are connected to the mini computer. Before Digital Equipment Corporation (DAC) released first DAC PDP 8 mini computer in 1968. This is basically the history of the mini computer. So we must know the history as well. Now, what are different advantages of mini computer, and what are their characteristics? And nowadays still we have got mini computers are smaller than the mainframe computers and used in the multinational companies and offices, where they need to process the data, large scale data. Like mainframes, most mini computers are multi-user. First characteristic is that they are multi-user means multiple users can be connected to single computer system. Many of today's computers, many of today's mini computers can accommodate as many 200 users. 200 users working from individual terminals. What is meant by terminal over here? Terminal is basically input and output device. It means that every user is not having a separate computer system, but only keyboard and monitor, which will be connected through an IO channel to the machine of mini computer. It will be connected to the machine of mini computer. Mini computers are a little slower than mainframe. They are having less capacity as compared, but they are also fast, but they are having less capacity as compared to mainframe, because mainframe are heavier machines. Like mainframes, mini computers can accommodate remote users, but not as many remote users which who are sitting on distance, who are connected through dial-up connection, connected through any other wired or wireless connection, and who are working on them. Many computers' input, output, and storage devices look like those on mainframes. So they will use IO devices and storage devices. IO devices are there normally, which are connected to the mini computers. Mini computers have slightly less storage, and the printers are slightly slower as if we compare it with the mainframe. Keep in mind, when we compare them with the mainframe, so they are not that much fast as the mainframes are, and they are also fast, but does not mean that they are slow, comparatively slow. And what are the examples? IBM AS400, IBM System 360, HP 3000, Prime 9755. These are the different models of the uh, mini computers that are used today. And these are different mini computers people can buy from different vendors. So many computers, we must know that these are used for huge data processing, but not for small organization. Large organization where they don't want to buy standalone PCs, so they just set up mini computers, and all the computer systems are basically in the form of terminals. These are connected to the computer system, mini computer, and the processing is done on that computer. So I am also going to share one video with you about the types of computers. This is about, yes, I hope so. This will be the video. So we should differentiate the mini, mainframe, micro. We should be able to differentiate.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire, computers are classified into many.
Okay, I hope that this its voice will be clear and you will be able to listen.
Computers are classified into many types based upon their size and speed. Fastest and most expensive computers are supercomputers. They are large and have multiple CPUs, so can handle many instructions in parallel. They are used for complex calculations such as weather forecasting, nuclear science, rocket launching, etc. Some examples of supercomputers are Summit, Sierra, Deep Blue, and Param made by CETA in India. Next are mainframe computers. They are designed to handle huge volumes of data and information. While supercomputers are typically focused to perform few critical tasks, mainframes perform multiple instructions in parallel for multiple users. They also have multiple processors, hence are fast and expensive. They are typically used by large organizations for bulk data processing. Some examples are IBM Z Univac, etc. Mini computers are also called as mid-range servers. They lie somewhere between mainframe and microcomputers. They are typically multi-user systems and have more memory and larger storage capacity than microcomputers. They are used as web servers, database servers, gaming servers. Examples are Magnum, VAX, etc. Microcomputers typically are single CPU, single user systems used at home, office, school, shops. They are further categorized as personal computers, workstations, laptops, mobiles, embedded computers. The personal or desktop PCs are the most common computers with monitor, keyboard, and mouse, typically kept on a desk. They are used for browsing or gaming, learning, and small business use. Workstations are like desktop computers but have more powerful CPU with higher memory and processing powers. They are more expensive and are used for doing some niche work like designing, animation, and complex mathematical calculations. Laptops are portable computers which integrate all components of a computer in the size of a notebook. Hence, they are also sometimes called as notebook computers. Today, we have smartphones and touchscreen tablets which can easily be carried anywhere. While they were initially meant for limited capability, but now they are used for gaming, video, and high-end cameras. Many of the devices today have an embedded small computer like smart TVs, watches, cars, microwaves. They are typically programmed to perform some set tasks required as per the device.
Okay, so this was basically a small video. Uh, if the voice was not that much good, so you can see it again. I am giving you the link over here in your Google Classroom as well in today's lesson. Now, basically, they discussed about that mini computers comes between mainframe and micro. Mini computers are having the capacity which is basically between the mainframe and microcomputers. So these are less than mainframes and higher than microcomputers, and these are used as single machines with which multiple users can be connected using individual terminals. Now come towards the mainframe. Mainframe has more capacity as we compare it with the mini computers. So mainframes are used by large multinational companies and organizations, and they use them because they need to process the data, which is huge data, and they need to store huge data, and they need to connect multiple users, hundreds or thousands of users, with one computer systems where centralized data processing should be done. So mainframe computers are the most powerful computers used inside the organization. But keep in mind, we have another type as well, which is called supercomputers, but that is basically special purpose used in specific organizations. The mainframe computers are used by large multinational organizations. A single mainframe computers can be used by hundreds of people at once. Each computer has its own terminal that is connected to the mainframe. Mainframe computers are usually kept in a special cooled, clean computer room. Mini computers are medium sized computers which are more powerful than microcomputers, but not as powerful as mainframe computers. This is the point that I have already explained. Mainframe computer systems is usually composed of several hundred computers in addition to the mainframe or a host processor. Means there is a basically host processor which is composed of a several computers. So that's why it has got a huge data processing capacity in it. The host computer is responsible for controlling the other processors, all the peripheral devices and the mathematical operations. These are done by the computer system. There is a front end processor and back end processor as well. Front end processor is responsible for handling communications to and from all the remote terminals connected to the computer system. And backend processor, sometimes a backend processor is used to handle data retrieval operations. Although the host computer could perform all those operations, it can be used more efficiently if revealed of time consuming cores that do not require processing speed. So over here, if we see over here, so host processor is there inside the main frame computer systems. Front end processor, back end processors are used inside the mainframe computer systems. What are the different features? These are very important, which can come in your exams for 3 marks, for 4 marks, to write features of mainframe computer systems. So we have mentioned over here the mainframe computer systems, their features as well, and their examples of the mainframe computer systems which are used today. Mainframe computer systems are powerful enough to support several hundred users, number one, using remote terminals even. Remote terminals, I have already explained you that one user is sitting uh, on a distance, far distance, and he or she is connected with a dumb terminal or a terminal using wired or wireless connection to the main machine, mainframe computer system. Mainframe computers are so much faster than people, then the users never notice that the computer is handling tasks. They are very fast. When the task will be given to the computer system, you will not feel that the computer system is performing hundreds or thousands of tasks by different users. This capacity to process many programs concurrently means simultaneously, for multiple users is known as multi-programming. Multiple tasks are done by the mainframe computer systems. Multiple users from different locations, they are giving commands, and they are using different machines, and they are connecting with different terminals to the machine, and then the machine is processing their task. The typical mainframe computer system occupies much of a large room. It is set up inside a room. Okay. So large organizations, just like you would have listened about HBL, PIA, they have got their own mainframe computer systems. Like supercomputers, mainframes require an environment which with closely monitored humidity and temperature, chilled environment with proper temperature and all these things. This is managed inside a room. Their cables are going in that room where these cables are connected and terminals are attached with them. IBM S390, AMDAL 580, Control Data Cyber 176, these all are the computer systems which are the examples of the mainframe computer systems. Up to here, if you have got any question, you can raise the hand, please. Yes, students, I just need the feedback. Is there any confusion? Now mainframe computers are clear that where mainframes are used. As I have explained that mainframe computers are not used inside the small offices or inside homes. These are used by large organizations, multinational companies, banks, large business organizations, where they have got hundreds or thousands of users to be connected with a single machine so that there should be centralized data processing. Fine. And those users, they don't have their own CPU, their own storage device. They have just input and output system, input and output mechanism. Okay. And in that input and output mechanism, in that input and output system, what they do, they just connect to the machine and then they store data over there. Okay. So up to here, if you have got any question, please ask me. Please. Will you please thumbs up so that I can know that all of you are able to get all the points? What about the rest of the students? Afzal Ahmed, Abdul Muiz, Dawood, Adiba, Khuzaima, Iman, Noor, Sayyid Muhammad Hussain. What about the rest of the students? Have you got these all things or not? Because now I am going to cover over here supercomputers. Supercomputers, these are used by specific organizations. Specific organizations are there which are using supercomputers. Specific organizations, just like military organizations, you would have listened the name of NASA, which is basically dealing with the space research. It's an American organization dealing with the space research. Military organizations, science and research organizations. These organizations, they use supercomputers. Normally, supercomputers are used by such organizations where they have got high profile sensitive data which needs to be secured and huge data processing is there. Supercomputers are the largest and the fastest computer systems. Okay. And supercomputers can be accessed by many individuals at the same times, as we know that we can do in mainframe computer systems and in many computer systems. And first supercomputer was built in 1960 for the United States Department of Defense. Okay. And afterwards, different organizations, military organizations, just like Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, they have also got their own computer systems. Pakistan military has got their own computers, their own supercomputers, because they need to have such kind of computers which mechanism is not open to all outsiders who can access it and who can hack the data from that computer system. So that's why normally it is designed by the organization itself. Normally they don't prefer to buy a supercomputer from any vendor, because some vendors are also there who are dealing with the supercomputers. But normally the organizations, they prefer to have their own mechanism of building the computer system, so that it should not be decomposed or decoded by any other person who is trying to access their computer system. Examples are mentioned over here: cray 1 2 controlled data cyber 205 eta. If you will go and you will mention over here examples of supercomputers, so you will be able to see that there are different organizations which are dealing with the supercomputers, and you will be able to know their names. Currently these supercomputers are used. Different vendors are also there which are providing the services to provide you the supercomputer according to your requirement. Okay, what are the different features of these supercomputers? Now we need to know about them. As we have gone through the features of mainframe and mini computers, aerospace, automotive, chemical, electronics, petroleum industries are using, basically they use supercomputers. Supercomputers are used in weather forecasting and seismic analysis. They are found in many public and private research centers. As I have mentioned, military organizations, weather forecasting organizations, okay, research and development organization, they use supercomputers. Supercomputer was used to alert scientists to the impending collision of a comet with Jupiter in 1994. Basically, this is a historical event about which they have mentioned, so we can eliminate this point. Ultra supercomputer will simulate nuclear explosions. As I have mentioned, that nuclear organizations which are dealing with normally, that where they are using the computer system for the research of nuclear weapons or nuclear energy, so they also try to use supercomputers for the sake of calculation. Supercomputers can perform at up to 128 gigaflops and use bus width of 32 to 64 bits. This capability makes supercomputers suitable for processor incentive applications. Okay, so for simulation modeling, all these purposes, this is used. Now, since the gigaflop is used over here, so I have given over here the definition. The speed of modern supercomputers is measured in nanoseconds, and gigaflop, nanosecond is 1 billionth of a second. A gigaflop is 1 billionth floating point arithmetic operations per second. So you can imagine that what would be the speed of a supercomputer system. For further, uh, if you want to study further points about the supercomputer, so I have given you some links as well over here that you can go through and find out some information on the base on the grounds of their capacities and their characteristics. So all this information is given over here on this link as well. So I am giving you this file, whatever the work we have done today, and it was very important work, because we have gone through the types of computer systems on the basis of size, speed, and cost. Basically this is the topic that we have done today. So I am providing you this text. up to supercomputers, and I'm also giving you this link as well. Okay, the video link I'm also giving you, and you will be able to see this in your Google Classroom. Recommended readings I am providing you over here. You can read it from here as well. Okay, so this is the file for types of computers that I am giving you. This is done on 20th April. You will check it right now in your Google Classroom, and you will let me know about it, that you are able to see this file. You will confirm me right now, okay? Okay, up to here, if you have got any question, please, students, ask me, just ask me if you have got any question. Everything is clear? Okay, so the text is also given to you, one relevant video. I'm also finding out some relevant videos which are relevant to our syllabus. And I will also give you this video as well over here in this uh, lesson, and you will be able to see that with this video as well. Thank you so much, all of you.